Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You have tuned into the Rebel News live stream panel discussion on this, a Friday, August 7th, 2026. I'm David Menzies in Toronto, and also in Toronto, I'm so happy to introduce my beloved colleague, Alexa Lavoie, just fresh back from her Spanish adventure. Alexa, great to have you with us. How you doing?
I'm good now.
I see you got some sun. And before we get into all the nooks and crannies of Ceuta, the island that was invaded, let me get to the left coast, and that is where we have my co-host, Drea Humphrey. How you doing there, Drea?
I'm doing good. It's good to see Alexa alive and almost as black as me. But yeah, no, I'm excited to talk about your adventure, Alexa. But before we do that, a little housekeeping. For those of you who are new to the Roundtable or need a refresher, this is where we talk about the news of the day, and we have a panel guest on Friday. And if you want to be a part of the show, you can join in. You can do that if you're watching on YouTube by leaving a super chat. You can leave a comment, and if you donate $5 or more, it goes to help our journalism, and we read it and incorporate it to the show, which is super fun. And if you're watching on YouTube after the fact, it's no longer live, but you're like, that was really cool, and I'd like to help their journalism, you can leave us a super thanks, which we're grateful for. And then the other option to do the same thing, but on a very free speech platform, would be to join us on Rumble and leave us a Rumble rant. So hope to hear from you guys through the show.
Thank you so much, Drea. And by the way, Alexa, to Drea's point, I'm very happy you're back safe and sound too, because this was not without its dangers. And we have maybe we can get to a video clip later, and you can fill in the blanks, because I was left a little mystified. You're having a consensual interview with some migrants, and then some reprobate on top of a mountain or a hill throws a rock at you, and almost connected, and that could have done serious damage. To me, this speaks of an ongoing theme that you would not get from the mainstream media. And that was the outrageous entitlement. Look at these hordes of people crossing illegally a border. So they're already criminals just by doing that. And then they're running down the street screaming, Allahu Akbar. They are smashing storefront windows. They're getting violent with people. These are exactly the kind of people you don't want in your country, even if they were migrating through legal and proper channels. But before we get into all that nitty gritty, what in the world was that guy throwing a rock at you for?
We were at the border where everything happened. The border is El Tarajal. And we were doing an interview, and we know that a little bit further, it's a very dangerous area called El Principe. And we knew about it, so we kept our distance in a certain way, and we were speaking with some people who wanted to share their side of the story, why they came, and etc. And curiously, they like to be on camera. Some of them, they like to talk, they like to share some of their story, why they are here, and probably to get the sympathy by telling their story that they have been cheerleading what to say. Like, because all of them have the same story.
Oh, and Alexa, those are the smart ones, the ones who understand the merits of propaganda. And the mainstream media was snapping it up hook, line, and stinker. I did a commentary about where I was dissecting a wire service story from France that was published in the Toronto Sun. And the headline alone told you exactly where this was going. Suffering, racism. These are criminals invading by the tens of thousands, and they have the audacity to play the racism card. And yet, my point in that, Alexa, was that the Toronto Sun leans right of center. If the Sun is publishing garbage like that, you can imagine what you're going to read in the Guardian, the Toronto Star, what the CBC is going to broadcast. And by the way, there was no other Canadian media there, and that's shameful. That was the biggest story last week in the world, I think. What do you make of the media angle?
But the media angle, we are not surprised by it. Me and Efron, we saw actually that a video was circulating online. I think it was the Belgium TV, and they literally staged a young man, and we are seeing them filming the young man on a rock where is the beach. And then when they finish taking their footage, they say, hey, it's finished, okay, thank you, and they clap in their hand, and like the young boy stand up and went to see them, and everything was staged. It's just to get the sympathy and to get more money from the European Union to provide assistance. And it worked, because just yesterday we learned that the European Union Commission provided 114 millions of euro to Spain to help with what is happening at the border. On that, there is 28 millions of euro to reinforce reception, asylum, and return system in Ceuta. But people need to understand that the Supreme Court at the beginning of July have ruled that if they are arriving by sea, all the migrants that are arriving by sea illegally, they cannot do hot return, saying that they cannot return them automatically. They have to go to the proper process channel, so they have to be received, and all their documents need to be proceeded like formally, and that will cost a lot of money. Because I was speaking with some of the migrants who, I don't know if I can call them migrants. I think I would call them invaders at this point, because this is what is happening in Ceuta. But some of them say, oh, I can't apply legally because I did prison time at home.
Oh my God.
And I will be refused again and again. So my only option is to come illegally. And
wow,
it's not the only one. And I was speaking with the American citizen who came legally to provide assistance to his nephew who crossed illegally, giving them money, food, water, to also other people who crossed illegally. And what he was saying to us is like, I do not understand. Most of them have a decent life in Morocco. They don't need to cross illegally, but they did it anyway. And I would say that part of them are bad people, and we don't want them back.
Oh, 100%. And I'll throw it over to Dre in a second. One last question. Who do you have more contempt for, Alexa? The tens of thousands of invaders that came to this tiny Spanish enclave, or the fact that the Spanish government, from what I can tell, or maybe more appropriately, the Spanish courts, have absolutely no intention of defending Spain's sovereignty, of defending Spain's borders. And I'm sorry, if you are a nation and you can't defend your borders, guess what? That's the lowest benchmark of all in terms of being a nation. You can't do that. You're not a serious country. So again, the question is, who do you have more contempt for? These belligerent invaders, or this soft, mushy Spanish government that seems to be okay with taking on this problem?
I feel so sorry for the resident of Ceuta, I would say, because they are all seeing an invasion. And those illegals, we talk about thousands of people who are free in the streets, and the military and the police didn't take any information about them, didn't ask for ID, passport. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they're from. They are free in the city. They are walking freely among the people. And at night, if I was a female living in Ceuta, I don't think at night I will want to be in the streets. There is and I ask all of them, Are you Christian? Are you Muslims? They are all Muslim. They are all Muslim from different part of Africa. We know that we had like the 70,000, around 70,000 Moroccan who enter all in the same time illegally. Some of them return it back to Morocco. But the thing is, and this is something that no media have been talking about, there is two legal border in Ceuta, in each side of the city. The invasion happened in El Tarahar. And at the opposite side, there is another border that's called the Benzu border. And just a couple of days before the big invasion happened, they had to close that border because of an invasion that was taking place there of mainly Yemeni, Senegalese, Nigerians, people from all part of Africa. So they had to close that side. And then a couple of days after, that happened to the other side. So it's a mix of Moroccans that it's kind of a leftover of the 60 and plus migrants who crossed illegally. But there is also thousands of other men on the other side of the city, just staying on the beach. Some of them are at the migrant facility. And I was really shocked, not really in the same time, but at migrant facility, they had to separate the women and the men because of the risk of rape.
Unbelievable. And, you know, in one of your videos, too, you showed how ungrateful these people are by the sheer amount of litter they left behind, which was disgusting. But, Drea, I'm sure you have a ton of questions for Alexa yourselves. Take it away, my friend.
I absolutely do. I mean, first, I just want to say how thankful I am for you and Efron going out there and getting us the real scoop, because you are the perfect person to do that. I mean, the mainstream media out here wasn't even covering the truth about Roxham Road and what's happening in Canada. And so you've done a good job with that too. But I do have some questions since we have you here. One was, we could see on the mainstream media that they were showing a lot of women and children. What do you think was the actual ratio that you saw between men and women?
Oh my God, I would say it's 99% of men and maybe less than 1% of women. But I saw women with babies. How come you are crossing over the sea with literally babies? This is dangerous place to cross because most of them, they don't know how to swim properly. And I know that so far, I think more than 60 or 70 people died crossing. And I saw also a lot of minors who were sent by their parents. And I was like, which kind of disgusting and vile parents will send their child by themselves to cross illegally into a country and risk their life? And all this in a hope that they will receive their citizenship at the end and to be able to move to the Western country afterwards, because we all know that once you're in, you can bring your family as well. And most of them, they all say, oh yes, I want to bring my family when I will receive my citizenship. But this, we need to think about it because most of them have big families. We might enter one person, but at the end of the day, it will be 10 other people that will follow. It was really outrageous to see. Like, this is what we see at this screen is the minors facility, but guess what? They don't have any ID, so they can lie that they are minors. And I saw some people saying, oh, I'm a minor. I was like, I'm sorry, you are about like 24 years old or you're 18 years old, that's for sure. But they are claiming that they are minors and there is no way to prove what is their age. Like, they have no ID, they have no passport, they came with nothing. So as of right now, the minors facility is packed. People have to sleep outside. And it's not only that center that is packed because there is another migrant center who is packed as well.
Wow. Now, one of the questions I had when I was talking with David last week was, who's behind this? So you're saying 60 to 70,000 of these invaders came all at once. Did you get any insight from talking to them about how that was all put together and who's making that happen?
I think it's a mix of different things. I'm going to explain. Back in 2021, an invasion took place in Ceuta. More than 10,000 people crossed illegally. And this is the second time, like 5 years after, we have like now about 60 or 70,000 who crossed illegally. We know that for the Moroccan, they believe that this is a Moroccan occupied territory. So they don't believe that this is a Spanish territory. They believe that they have no rights to be there. And so I think the king of Morocco won those two ex-slaves back as the land of Morocco. I think there is a little bit of the government behind it. Obviously, we need more proof about that. But the thing is, some of them say that, yes, the king is in a certain way involved with it, because also the Moroccan police allegedly facilitated their entry, apparently, according to many of the illegals. But what started everything is like, I asked them to show me where they saw the propaganda video saying that the border was open and that they could actually go and get their citizenship. And I look at those Instagram and there is nobody behind it. Like it's just like a random kind of page with a lot of people who are following those pages. And those pages, you can actually see that they are documenting the illegal entry from Morocco to Ceuta. So apparently all the pages in the same time did post videos saying the border is open, go now. And some of the truck driver were saying the same thing to the young people, saying, hey, the border is open, jump, 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 jump. And they were driving them to the border all in the same time. But it did happen on the Thursday, but it did continue the following days, on the Friday and the Saturday. And I think it's a little bit of the king wants to send a strong message saying, we actually tested your border, we tested your security, and we tested like your immigration policies. And they all saw that they have weak borders and weak immigration policies, and that most of them will probably be processed. And they would do it again because talking with some of the illegals, they have already families who crossed illegally in Ceuta, and now they are living in Europe. And so they say, why not doing it? What I have to lose? Because in the same time, crossing illegally into Ceuta, they have no information gathered about the illegals. There is no consequences. And something more shocking is like at the border, there is a formal path where you go, you give your passport, they take a photograph of you, and there is an informal one where you have no passport, no ID, then they give you the way to a really weird ditch where you are crossing back to Morocco, and they don't take any information about you.
Yes.
No consequences. Why not crossing over?
Why not?
And you know, Alexa, as I listen to you and your assessment, and I think you're spot on, you know, testing Spain, finding out there's weak borders, weak security, a weak military even. I think what we're seeing here is the nation version of suicidal empathy. Suicidal Empathy is, I think, the most important book of the year, authored by Professor Gad Saad. And it's basically looking at, and I got to tell you, the biggest promoters of this kind of thinking are woke white women. You know, I'm sorry to be sexist and racist, but it's right there. And I'll give you an example. I mean, I've mentioned this on the show with Drea before. One of the most outrageous examples Professor Saad makes in his book, folks, is a woman was gang raped. Imagine, gang raped in a city in Germany. I can't remember which one. And when the police were doing the investigation, what time, where, how many, one of the questions was, what language were your assailants speaking? And she said German. But it turns out, no, she was lying. They were speaking Arabic and Farsi. She didn't want to come across as being culturally insensitive. This is a woman who is being gang raped. I can't imagine anything worse, well, maybe death, but she was more concerned about being culturally sensitive. And I see this suicidal empathy being played out at a national level in Spain, whether it's the Spanish government or the Spanish courts, saying, hey, we can't do anything, let them in, bring their families in. This is a nation en route to suicide, as far as I can see.
No, but we can also talk about this American woman in Ireland who got literally killed by a refugee, and that he escaped afterwards. This is the thing, like most of the NGO workers are white women. Like the one that I saw on the beach were white women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? What is in their DNA that makes them embrace, as Professor Saad says, suicidal empathy?
I think it's years of mainstream media telling them like, oh, we need to save them. You know, they are suffering. This. But the thing is, the people that we are letting in are not the people who need to move in Western countries. They are not the one who are suffering. Most of them, they are either bad people who did prison time, or they are people who just want to exploit the system and abuse of the system. There is probably among them some people who are really suffering. I'm not saying that all are not suffering, but I would say, like, when we are looking the people that we are letting in, a really small percentage will really integrate and will want to share our values.
That is a very important point, too. The idea of being culturally incompatible.
I ask them, I say, but you're fleeing a Muslim country for going to a Western civilization where obviously Islamic values and Western values are in some way incompatible. How are you going to deal with this? And he say, oh, but it's okay. We will, we will just accept it. But there is something that someone said to me. I'm going to move to Western countries. I will bring my culture, my values, my faith. And my daughter, there is no way that my daughters will eat the Western food and dress as Westerner. And I have that in an interview. And I'm just like, but is this like not the point to integrate when you are moving to Western countries? Because you want to be in a democracy, you want to be like the Westerners. But no, it's not what they want. They want to bring their culture and their values and their faith, and they don't want to integrate. They want to stay in a Muslim area. They want to be able to live their life as they were living in their own country. But I was like, you're leaving your country because your country failed you. Why then repeating the same mistakes in a country that is opening its door? Well, opening its door. We are not opening its door, like they cross illegally. But why do you want to repeat the same thing in our country?
because they can get away with it, I think. And this isn't conjecture, Alexa. One of the amazing anecdotes you mentioned was that there was I think he was around 13 years old, a boy, saying he was starving, and you, out of the goodness of your heart, Alexa Lavoie, offered him some pepperoni sticks, and he said no. Why did he say no?
He said, no, it's not halal, so I can't eat that. The 13 years old man who has nothing on him, who is actually begging for food,
Jeez.
and I gave him like some of my pepperoni stick because it's only what I had on me and I didn't have any money or anything. He said, no, it's not halal. So I was like, okay, so you prefer dying than having like some food that you can eat, despite that is not like permitted under the Islamic law?
And you know, Drea, I think that's an exceptional anecdote, because if somebody with an empty stomach and is desperate for food still wants to go all Sharia in their lifestyle, imagine what these people will be like when they're comfortable and well fed.
Well, that's something else that needs to be looked into. The same way you're saying we need to look into the king's influence is there an agenda to advance religion? We see that happening in other places like Africa. Morocco is a 99% Muslim country. At this moment, it doesn't seem like that's what you're finding, but that could be a real thing where we're going here and we are going to change, how everything looks religiously as well.
I asked them, do you believe that the European countries should be Muslim countries? And some of them say, yes, it can just be good to be a Muslim country. And I was like, okay, that's odd. But anyway, and I say to them, Spain was once a Muslim country, an Islamic country. Obviously, Spain passed through the Reconquista, and so they gained back the land. But for them, I asked them, do you still believe that this land should be Islamic? And some of them say, yes, it should be back Islamic.
Yeah, some said yes, and the others were practicing taqiyya, I should think. And by the way, Alexa, didn't one of these invaders say to you that he thought you were dressing inappropriately for a woman?
So I asked to multiple of them.
Surprise, surprise.
I asked to some Yemeni who say that, no, I'm not dressing properly. And he said to me that if I'm dressing like that in this country, people would be mean to me. And so I would say, okay, what do you mean by being mean to me? And they say, oh, they will give you clothes to wear. I say, well, yeah, but if I don't wear the clothes that you are giving to me, and you were able to see that it was not comfortable to say that they will be maybe physical with me if I refuse to cover my head. And then another person say, no, if we see just a strand of your hair, this is not okay. This is not okay. You need to cover your head.
You know, Drea, my favorite Yiddish word is chutzpah. It means sheer, unmitigated gall. Can you imagine the gall of someone who is an invader? He's in the country illegally. He is kicking in storefront windows. He's stealing. He's, doing acts of violence, littering everywhere. You've got to segregate the sexes, or else you're going to have a rape issue. And this individual tells our colleague, I'm sorry, I don't think you're dressed appropriately. Are we in the Twilight Zone?
No, absolutely. You're pointing out everything that should be pointed out. I want to know the context of that. I mean, did he just walk up to you and say this? Were you interviewing him? Like,
I was interviewing him.
and he just voluntarily said you're dressed inappropriately? My goodness. Again, what does that mean for the locals of Ceuta, for the women, as they have to walk the streets now? Yeah.
And I was just dressing with a t-shirt, and I didn't have any like short shorts. I had like a pretty long Bermuda because I didn't want to, them to be shocked to see me like dressing even more improperly for them.
Oh, go ahead and shock them.
But that revealed like the whole point. Like, why are we letting people who are that literally don't share the same values, who are seeing women as almost an object that I need to cover myself because you men, you can't control yourself? Because this is the main point. Like, if women are dressing like as are you like
Slutty?
blinds,
I
or I don't know, like
but I know where you're getting
yeah,
at.
like I'm not going to dress like a ghost. Like, I'm sorry, because you can't control yourself and your potions. This is the point. Like,
And Alexa, I think the point is, if that man can't control himself, that's his problem, not your problem.
exactly. But I need to
And the
say
other
something.
question, just real
Yeah.
quick, is why are some people dressing their little toddlers up like that? If the whole point is that a man can't resist themselves, why sometimes do you even see little girls dressed like that?
Because I recently listened the largest Islamic convention in Montreal, and one of the speaker, who is actually a Champlain at the hospital in Milton, already said in a podcast that because someone asked him why Mohammed married Aisha at the age of 6 years old and consumed her at 9. And he was explaining that, in hot countries, women are getting mature at around the age of 4, 5, and 6
Come
years
on.
old.
Oh,
And
my
in the
God.
cold countries, they get mature a little bit later on. This is not true. This is not supported by science, by the way. Anyway, same if the little girl get her period at the age of 10, that doesn't give you the permission to sleep with that little girl. And I think this is something that they are covering up the small little girl, because if you look at the Quran, it is permitted to sleep with underage girl because apparently they are mature enough to have a sexual relation with.
Unbelievable. And
Sorry for it was graphic for the viewer. I'm sorry.
Yes, yes.
oh no, but
it's
don't
true.
don't we have somebody who's an Islamic chaplain? I think it's at the Milton Hospital,
Yeah.
who was also advocating, hey, no big deal to have sex with a minor girl. So again, it's more to the argument of cultural incompatibility, right? And it's beyond that. I mean, there are issues in even American states of female genital mutilation.
Yeah.
The idea of doing those vile surgeries to literally make sex unpleasant for the woman, not for the man, mind you, but for the, you know. So I mean, I can't get my head around this. You know, we're at the halfway mark. So Alexa, how about before we break for ads, give us your single biggest takeaway from when you and Efren went to Spain and witnessed this migrant invasion firsthand. What should people know? Because they're not getting the truth from the mainstream media. We know that. What should people know about what you witnessed?
I think Ceuta is the first door open for the illegals to enter in the European Union. Pedro Sanchez has no intention to close it. In fact, they literally injected more millions to take care of them. And I think Ceuta, in my personal opinion, is already lost. Yeah. Why I'm saying that is that about half of the population of Ceuta is already Moroccans. So already on scene, you can see the demographic, and it's changing rapidly. And when they will be the majority, they will take back Ceuta and Melilla, and then they will not have no control of the mass immigration that is coming to Europe. And then obviously at one point, when they will have abuse to all the social services to all countries, they will move to Canada because we have weak immigration policy, and they will just fly to Canada and turn themselves as refugee.
And by the way, Alexa, to your point, Andrea, I thought that was one of the single biggest lies of all told by the mainstream media, that after 24 hours they were saying, oh, most of them have gone back to Morocco. Nothing to see here. It was just a blip, it was just like a frat boys having a good time. That was not the case.
That was not the case. And most of them, they are still there. I think there is more than 20,000 illegals in the city, hiding in mountains and bushes and a little bit everywhere on the beach. They are all over and begging for money, begging for food, begging for water. And obviously there is NGO giving them also aids and stuff. So I'm telling you, it's a matter of time that Ceuta and Melilla, if there is another invasion, because we saw on social media that some influencer was talking about a second wave. But if that happened, I just don't know how long the two exclave will be able to sustain, because at the end of the day, military police cannot arrest them. They have no rights to do so. And so what will happen when your military and your police is like that, and there is no consequences for them to cross over? Now the whole world notices what happened. Listen to me. There will be a wave from across Africa going up to Ceuta as of right now, because they saw what happened. They saw that there is no consequences. And they saw that there is no ban of coming back, because most of the time you get caught, they return you, there is a ban, you can't enter anymore the European Unions or the country. There is nothing. So they say, why not? Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. What's the downside? Well, as Drea said, thank God you and Efren got back safe and sound. And you did outstanding journalism there, Alexa. Thank you so much.
And it's not finished, because we have our full last report. I want to tell everybody to go to migrantreports.com. I'm working on the full extensive reports where we will explain everything. We will show you exclusive footage and exclusive interview that we are working on. We are translating from Arabic, from Spanish, and this might be available at the beginning of the week, next week.
There you go. Thank you so much, Alexa.
Thanks, Alexa.
And folks, we've got plenty more on the other side in terms of Canadian domestic issues. So please check out our words from our sponsors, and we'll see you on the other side.
For generations, many Canadians have preserved more than just firearms. They've preserved history, tradition, competition, memories. But under Trudeau, and now Carney, heirlooms, estates, collectibles, and competition firearms now have to be surrendered and destroyed. While violent gun criminals get pass after pass, openly ignoring any legislation, lawful gun owners are trapped in an increasingly unfair legal system. But we can help. Canada's National Firearms Association's Save Firearms program offers the legal pathway to preserve what matters, while we work towards a political solution. Don't let yours be next. Save history. Save heritage. Save firearms. Visit nfa.ca today to learn more.
Hey folks, do you love a good cup of coffee? Are you, like me, banned for life from visiting Tim Hortons? Well,
No,
I
we're
have
not. No, not everybody is.
Not everybody.
Just you and me.
But I am. Folks, I have great news. Check it out. This is Rebel News Special Edition Coffee. Rebel News and Resistance Coffee have partnered to bring you something special to wake up to. Resistance Coffee is a family-run Canadian coffee company, unlike Tim Hortons, by the way. And while the big chains wrap themselves in the flag and turn their backs on Canadian workers, Resistance Coffee has been doing the real thing all along, available only at rebelcoffee.ca. A 5-pound bag and bundles qualify for a $9.99 flat rate shipping nationwide. It is worth every penny. Folks, this is great coffee, and this is the coffee to brew. Rebel News.
In Canada, firearms owners like me understand the importance of safe, effective self-defense options. That's why we're proud to have Byrna as a sponsor. Byrna's less lethal launchers are designed to help protect you and your family without taking a life. Byrna offers peace of mind, accessibility, and a practical layer of personal security for Canadians who value safety. Learn more at byrna.ca/rebel. That's BYRNA.ca/rebel.
All right, before we jump into more of the craziness and the news of the day, I've got an ad read from one of our sponsors. It is from the Rumble wallet. We hear a lot about crypto, but there's the part that most people miss. Crypto was created so you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you've felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today, everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels complicated. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all that complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stable coins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in minutes. Once you've set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like Rebel News directly. So do this now, scan the QR code or click the link in the description box and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. In just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. And I still personally need to do it. Every time I read it, I'm like, I got to do it after.
And you know, Drea, I can't think of a better thing to buy with your crypto than this Rebel News blend coffee. Folks, this is absolutely delicious coffee. Take it from me. Rebel News and Resistance Coffee have partnered up to bring you something special to wake up to, and it's this. Resistance Coffee, by the way, is an independent family-run coffee company, and while the big chains wrap themselves in the flag and turn their backs on Canadian workers, I'm looking at you, Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons who have banned me for life. Thank you for that. In any event, Resistance has been doing something for a long time, perhaps unnoticed until now, and that is brewing exceptional coffee roasted right here in Canada by people who actually believe in this country. What a concept. This, by the way, folks, is our strong and free roast in special Rebel News edition colors, available only on this page, rebelcoffee.ca. That's rebelcoffee.ca. And let me tell you, it is a beautiful blend. It's coffee from Peru. It is roasted medium dark for a cup that's bold but smooth, rich, full-bodied, and free of the burnt, bitter aftertaste you get from mass market coffee. It's the roast that satisfies just about everyone at the table, which is exactly why it is our bestseller. Folks, please get this coffee, especially if you're banned from Tim Hortons like me for life. You don't have a choice, do you? So go to rebelcoffee.ca. How about you ladies? I can't remember the wording of that legal letter. Are you two also banned from all Canadian Tim Hortons for life as well?
No, I think you are the one who is banned forever. We are banned from practicing journalism there. But I can proudly say that I had already been boycotting them for like 2 years because it's gone so downhill and I had enough. So
in the meantime, you can also take your mug. Don't worry. It's not Tim Hortons. At ribbonnewstore.com.
What a perfect mug to put your coffee in. By the way, if you don't know the story, folks, and you're wondering, good God, did Menzies assault a Tim Hortons employee? No, we asked him polite questions. That's it. That's the benchmark for getting banned from a Tim Hortons. Unbelievable. But enough about that. Now, Alexa, you told me during the break you want to talk about the Canada Border Service Agency has spent almost $1 million on private planes to fly foreign nationals home and to detention centers within Canada. I'm of mixed emotions with this. If you're flying unwanted reprobates home, yeah, get the fastest jet you can. But you know what? When you're bringing them to other detention centers in Canada, doesn't the bus suffice? Why does it have to be a private jet?
Yeah, but why are we literally paying for that? Like, the question is, first of all, why private jets, private planes? Just take a regular plane as we do. Like, why they have to be in a really nice private plane? Like, and I don't believe that. I just don't. And 1 million, what that represent when we look at the cost of flying these days? What is it, 2 plane who actually left for 1 million? Can we know like the number of plane who actually brought people back home? And can we know how many people who got deported so far? Because I don't believe that there is much.
Well, you know,
it says right here, it says the Global 5000 has seated for 14 passengers. So it can only take 14 passengers at a time and carries a price tag of upwards to $10 million. So they weren't taking many people at once, it would seem.
Oh my God.
You know, congratulations, ladies. You've made me change my mind. You're right. They could fly coach. Drea, this jet, it's a Bombardier Global 5000, and one of the flights, it was for over $130,000. It was just to transfer two illegal. I mean, who do these guys think they are? Doug Ford?
I don't think Doug Ford should have that too. Like at this point.
Doug Ford, you know, it reminds me. I just got a FOI back because I'm investigating, a little side note, on the ostrich con. So the Fifth Estate's, the CBC's documentary on the ostriches. And I see that they were taking limos to go to the same places we were going, you know what I mean, with our own vehicles. They're actually getting limos and SUVs. This is on the tax dollars' dime.
And by the way, Drea, surely because of the climate crisis, these are EV limos, or at least plug-in hybrid limos, right?
Yes, of course. No. It's like Justin Trudeau with his plastic cup everywhere after banning single-use plastic.
Wow.
I hate that I still see him all the time.
So as we're getting rid of the unwanted in Canada, albeit at a pricey airfare tag and on luxury private jets, unfortunately, that leads me to this next story. We're getting some of our trash sent back to us. I speak of this Canadian who was on a New Jersey boardwalk.
Oh, right.
And just attacked somebody for no reason other than ideological ones. And, well, she's been deemed an illegal immigrant, and which is good. Here's the bad news, folks. she's coming back here to Canada.
I hope like she's
New
not
Jersey,
coming
we don't
back
want-
with the guy that she is with, because he's not really, he's an American. So,
Yes.
and I think they are married. So,
Oh, okay.
So what will happen if she's banned from the US? I just hope that he's not coming back with her.
Oh, they're
But,
probably both coming back. And they're going to come back as heroes
Oh.
on the left after being locked up by ICE and being the victim. And I saw him when he was asking for money to help with her situation, completely leaving out the fact that she assaulted a teenager, allegedly for wearing a Trump shirt. Yeah, totally omitting what she actually had done. But it was like, oh, ICE has gotten her. Imagine. She's going to be the Bell's ball, I think, for people on the left.
And I think one of the shirts
radical
she was
left.
upset with, Drea, was just one celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. And I mean, guys, can we get that photo back on of the offender? Really just about exactly who you would expect this person to look like. What I love, for a while, folks, I found it inexplicable, and I'd love to get a female perspective. But these women, and I meet them in the field all the time, with dyed pink or dyed turquoise hair, and they are almost always unhinged left-wing lunatics. And I used to be curious, but now I'm appreciative, because when I see that kind of hair, it's kind of like, oh, look at that cuddly, cute little mammal that, oh, it's got a white stripe down its tail.
Oh my God, look at this one.
You give them space. Now look at that. But I guess the more important question, and I'll go to you, Drea, first. You're in the country illegally, right? But
Yeah.
even if you weren't, even if you were a tourist just, down there for a couple of weeks, isn't one of the fundamental rules of being in another foreign nation to behave yourself? And this woman was wearing trouble on her shirt, sucker punching other women with t-shirts she didn't agree with. What do you make of that?
I thought I had read that, and I don't see it here, so don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure her visa or whatever had expired too, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, so what are you doing there and assaulting people? And like you're saying, for celebrating their own country, it would seem. But just back to what you said about the blue hair, just a quick funny caveat. My daughter, she pranked me. She came home with the cow nose thing, and she had gotten a fake one or whatever, but I almost had a heart attack. I was like, no! She knew it would just bug me so much. But that's another one when you see that. It just signals something. I'm not saying everybody with green hair and the cow piercing is whatever, but it does send that vibe for sure.
Alexa, what's your take on this? Why do so many women on the left tend to dye their hair in very vibrant, unnatural colors?
I think they just go with the rotten mind, rotten mind. No, but I think they try to say, oh, I'm marginal. I want to show that I don't fit the line. I don't fit the society. I want to show that I'm a leftist. Literally, this is what that's sent as a message. So it's kind of like, I want to recognize the people who are like me. So I'm going to literally look like the people who are leftists. They are the people who are persecuted by the society. They are the people who are the victim of the society of capitalism and all those bullshit. But it's literally what they are sending as a message. And I think by looking as marginal, it's how they do it.
I remember when Sheila Gunn Reid and Lise Merle weighed in on this issue, and I think they had a profound point. In the world of nature, when you look at the brightest colored reptiles and insects, you know what it means? It means they're venomous.
But Alexa, you hit it on the nail there. That there's this whole narrative that you can't be a basic chick, right? And so they're signaling that they are an ally. When you look at the Progress Pride flag, for example, what does it include? It includes everything but a white heterosexual. So this is their way of showing, I am not that. I am an ally of, the far left.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what I feel the most sorry about? Like, when you see a picture of that, can we put up that photo again, guys, just in case anyone just tuned in and don't know what we're talking about? But when you see this face of this woman who is now unfortunately being deported back to Canada, what are you doing when Halloween comes around? I mean, you already have a costume, right?
Yeah, but most of them are like, I remember when I went to the Wild Pride, and I got like surrounded by people who literally had boobs out with like sticker and like chanting the Antifa song, and me, I'm just around and I'm just like, what is going on here? And they all look about the same, either pink or blue or green hair with like a lot of tattoo and piercing, and they are not the one that you want to see naked, believe me.
Yeah, well, we're getting a new one here. And I'll tell you, if we ever find out where she is when she comes back to our Dominion, we got to attempt to ask her a question.
Interview, yeah.
What were you thinking? What are the odds she'll react violently that she hasn't learned her lesson?
Maybe if she watches this live, she will.
I think people will welcome her like with applause. Like, we are so leftist here. I'm pretty sure like there would be a lot of people waiting for her to arrive in Canada and say, "You're my hero."
That's a great point, given the Trump derangement syndrome. And that kind of segues us into another story, ladies. And this, I find this so depressing, even though it's relatively a minor issue, but I think it speaks volumes of certain Canadians in our country. 7 in 10 Canadians, so 69%, of over 1,300 adults questioned in BC, Manitoba, Ontario, and Atlantic Canada want their provinces to maintain restrictions on American alcohol, right? Notably absent were respondents from Alberta and Saskatchewan, which you could argue are probably the two most normal provinces, in our Dominion. But, Dre, I'll start with you. This whole booze ban is ludicrous. First of all, these liquor boards have bought and paid for all these California wines, Kentucky bourbons, and so on. So they're warehousing them now, and I know in Ontario that warehousing bill alone is over $8 million. Some of these products are not shelf stable forever, so they're getting ruined. Two things: why not at the beginning just put up a sign and say, hey, when this American booze is gone, it's gone. We're not restocking. Or what I personally prefer, they all have a product of origin on it. Why not entrust the Canadian customer to make the choice of a boycott? Why can't it come down to Drea Humphrey or Alexa LeVar, David Menzies going, oh, that whiskey is from Kentucky? No, I'm going to buy a Canadian one instead. But the fact that 69% of Canadians have said, we like being told what to do by big government when it comes to our liquor. This is crazy, Drea.
And just before you answer, Drea, when I went to Plattsburgh and other city in America, they saw a surge in sale of their American products from Canadians who are just crossing the border and just buying over there. So at the end of the day, what that means to do a ban, it's hurting us. It's not hurting them really.
Exactly. It's hurting the business people. And that's exactly what you're pointing out, David. Why wouldn't they at least let it phase out? The fact that we're doing this, and it's our Trump derangement syndrome. It's our elbows up. Here in BC, Premier Eby said there's no way in hell, American liquor is going to go back. It's like, sit down. What are you talking about? And then meanwhile, everybody's ignoring the fact that if you're selling wine from British Columbia, the interprovincial tariffs are so high. Like no one's doing anything about that, you know, if you're selling wine in BC, you can't sell to Ontario or Alberta. So even with the tariffs, you have people here selling their wine across the border, even with the tariffs, because they can't do it cross province. So we're acting all high and mighty. It's like, you know, check our own self before we wreck ourselves, and that's what we're doing.
But you know, Drea, to your first point, that's what this, make no mistake, that's what this was all about. A multi-million-dollar photo op. You had Doug Ford going into an LCBO store, putting away those American bourbon bottles and look, folks, I'm standing on guard for thee. You know, yeah, easy for you to say, Dougie, because, you know, we're not banning the ingredients for, I don't know, cherry cheesecake. I don't think that's going to fly. But, Drea, what's the situation, noticeably absent in this survey, is Quebec. What do you think most Quebecers agree with the SAQ saying, we're going to tell you what you can and cannot drink based on politics?
I know that there is many Quebecers who do agree to ban the American products, but the thing is, it's so hypocrite, because when they started selling the American products that was going to expire, people literally went to the SAQ to buy those wines and everything. And I think it's my colleague Guillaume Roy. He went on the ground to ask them, but do you want those products to be back? And they were like, I went there just because they were on sale, but no, I'm okay with like the ban, but why are you coming here to buy it then?
You know, everything is upside down. I never thought I would live in a Canada where marijuana is completely legal. Hey, man, give me another joint. And a bottle of Kentucky bourbon or California wine is contraband. I mean, what the hell? How are we in this situation?
There's actually a funny reel about that. It's this guy riding a bike, and he's like, me passing like 10 marijuana shops and illegal, and then he says to buy my illegal raw milk. Like all.
So
don't even get me started on that. But you know what, folks? I see we are already past 2 o'clock, but before we wrap things up, Drea, are there any super chats?
I do not believe so.
What?
I think maybe Alexa's fascinating story was captivating enough. People were glued to the screen.
Yeah, or maybe people are just taking advantage of what's remaining of our summer weekends.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine we're less than a month from September? I say this every year. Where the hell did summer go?
I know. I know.
It's depressing.
Boy. Well, Drea, thank you so much for your efforts out in Vancouver. And, you know, I know there's still tremendous interest on your number one beat. That's the ostriches. So
we're finished the documentary in a minute here. So excited to launch the dates pretty quick.
I can't wait. You know, so... Yeah, folks, forget about Spider-Man Brand New Day and the Odyssey. Just will you see the ostrich documentary?
Yeah.
That's going to be a whopper. And Alexa, I can't thank you enough for going all the way over there. It was fraught with danger. I saw your hotel room accommodations. Wow. And by the way, folks, this is very important. If you're giving to our campaigns, if you think Alexa and Efren were staying in a 5-star hotel, is there such a thing as a no-star hotel?
I think this one was a no-star.
Quarter star.
Yeah, it was the opposite of the lap of luxury. It was work, and no play whatsoever. But thank goodness you're both back in one piece. And folks, I guess that wraps up our panel discussion. Hope you enjoyed it. I will not be on the Monday show. I'm I'm in court in Oshawa on Monday.
What did you do again?
I didn't do anything. I'm covering a court case. I know it's the Christmas miracle in August, isn't it? You know, so there'll be two other rebels hosting. So I hope you all have a great weekend, and as always, stay safe and stay sane.
Hello everyone, it's Alexa Lavoie from Rebel News, and I have some big news I've been dying to share with you. I'm officially going on this year's news cruise, and I want you right there with me. So write this down, thenewscruise.com. That's where you go and reserve your cabin. And I will say it again before we are done, so stick with me. Here is what makes this year so special. For the very first time, Rebel News is teaming up with our friends at Juno News. 2 independent newsrooms, 1 unforgettable week at sea. We set sail on Saturday, November 20th, out of Fort Lauderdale, aboard Holland America Line's gorgeous MS Eurodam. 7 full nights in the Eastern Caribbean, returning Saturday, December 5th. And the itinerary is stunning. We will visit Grand Turk, San Juan in Puerto Rico, San Thomas, and Half Moon Cay, with relaxing days at sea in between. Sunshine, spectacular beaches, incredible food, and the best company you could ask for. But honestly, it's not really about the palm trees. It's about the people. You will get to spend the week with me, Ezra Levin, Keen Bextay, constitutional lawyer John Carpe, and journalists from both Rebel News and Juno News, like my colleague David de Mendoy-Menzi. When the ship is at sea, we host private receptions, exclusive panels, Q&A sessions, and roundtables. Candid, off-the-record conversations you won't find anywhere else. And every single night at dinner, we rotate seats. So over the course of the week, you will actually sit down and talk with all of us. No cameras, no scripts, just real conversation. Now, here's the thing. Every cruise we have ever run has sold out. And this year, with Juno News joining us, demand is higher than ever. The best cabins, especially the balconies, always go first. So don't wait. Go to thenewscruise.com right now to explore your cabins options and book your spot. Or if you got questions, give us a call at 1-800-707-1634. I cannot wait to see you on board.